Hey guys, Brad from SimpleGuitar.com here, and today we got a quick little talk that we gotta have because there's always confusion around music theory. Should I learn music theory? Am I gonna be less creative if I learn music theory? Hey, Jimi Hendrix never knew music theory. We're gonna discuss that right now and bust a couple of myths about what music theory is, what it isn't, and if you should understand music theory. Now, first of all, let's talk about what music theory isn't. Music theory is not a set of rules. It does not mean that if you understand music theory that you are somehow restricted and you have to follow whatever the music theory says is what it is. For example, if you understand that in any given key, any major key, you have the first chord in the key is major, the second chord is minor, the third chord is minor, the fourth chord is major, the fifth chord is major, the sixth chord is minor, and then the next chord, the seventh chord, is diminished, and then we get back up to major, right? That does not mean that those are the only chords that you can use in that key, okay? All it does is tell you, hey, if you take the notes of this scale, these are the chords that you're gonna build out of just that scale. You can use other notes though. You can use other chords, okay? You do not have to stick to just those. If you listen to much 90s alternative stuff, you're gonna find a ton of bands will take a single chord shape, like a major bar chord shape, like this. So I'm not barring the whole thing. And they'll play something like this. And just scoot it around to different frets. And that's the entire song, basically. Like, all they did was just take that one thing and experiment and find sounds that they like, okay? That's what matters. So music theory is not a set of rules. It does not restrict you. Now, is music theory going to make you less creative? Well, if music theory is not a set of rules built to restrict you and what you can do with music, whether it's on the guitar or not, then no, it's not gonna restrict you. What it is going to do is understanding music theory is going to start to open up your eyes and your ears to what is possible, okay? That is the biggest thing with music theory. The more that I teach students music theory as they progress, it's not like something that you need to dive into right away, but as students progress and they learn more music theory, they inevitably become more creative, okay? It is not going to restrict your creativity. It's going to unleash your creativity because you understand what music theory is, where those quote unquote boundaries are, and when and where to break them. That's the biggest thing. That's what makes a lot of people great, is they know when to break them. So what about great players like Hendrix and Stevie Ray Vaughan and the Beatles and people like that who claim that they have no formal music theory understanding? Well, you don't need to formally understand music theory to be able to utilize it. You don't need to have a college degree in music theory to know how to use different things. The number one most important thing, and this is what Hendrix did, this is what Stevie Ray Vaughan did, this is what the Beatles did, this is what anybody does who understands music theory. It is far more about the ear than it is textbook knowledge. It's not being able to go, okay, the major scale formula is whole step, half step, whole step, whole step, whole step, half step. That's not it, okay? That's not what's important. What's important is understanding when you're in the middle of playing music, knowing what sound you want to create or what feeling you want to create and what to do to produce that feeling with the scale that you're playing, the chords that you're playing, the rhythm that you're playing, whatever it is that you're doing. How do you produce that feeling? Understanding that inherently with your ear is the truest understanding of grasping music theory. The Beatles did this, Stevie Ray Vaughan did this, Jimi Hendrix did this. Anybody that you can name that's like, oh, I don't even know the names of the notes that I'm playing or the name of the chord that I play, but I can play it. That's why, is because they may not have a textbook understanding They may not be able to pass a test on music theory, but they understand with their ear, which is the most important thing. It's not about being able to answer questions. It's not about being able to restate, different formulas or theories about music theory and stuff. The biggest thing with music theory is being able to hear and understand what you're listening to, how it affects the feelings that you want to create in the people listening. That is the overlooked thing that music theory is. So as you are going, should I learn music theory? Yes, you should. But that does not mean that you should be able to just pass a paper test. It means that you need to be able to understand what you're listening to and apply it in a real musical way. When you can do that, that's when you really understand music theory. It's not when you can quote a bunch of different formulas or a bunch of different ideas about music theory. It's when you can use it musically. So, should you learn music theory? Yes, absolutely you should. Just make sure that you're always applying it to actual music and you're looking at the different ways that other people have taken quote unquote music theory and broken the rules, right? Because really there are no rules. The thing about music theory is a description of, if I do this, if I make this sound, I will create this feeling. And if you can understand that fundamentally, that's the most important thing. So go learn music theory, apply it to real music, and understand that you're not bound by any rules, but what you're going to discover is different combinations that you can use, different tools that you can put in your belt to create the feelings that you want to express. That is the important thing about music theory. So I hope that was helpful for you. I hope that as you are learning guitar, that you don't get scared about music theory and that you also don't get caught up in the academics of music theory. Always make sure that you're applying it to real music. And if you do that, music theory is going to enhance and amplify everything that you want to be able to do. Now, if that was helpful for you, I do have another gift for you on my website. If you go to simpleguitar.com/top10, there I have a guide called the top 10 things to learn on guitar first. It's great for beginners who are just starting out. It's 10 things I like to teach people that will get you a lot of bang for your buck when it comes to your guitar playing and being able to actually play real music. So go to simpleguitar.com/top10, pick up that guide, have yourself an awesome day. And you know what? If you want to start to understand a little bit of music theory, go check out this next video because this is one thing that you really need to understand. And I'll see you in that next video.